Hi, welcome along to AFTV. Now, it was made official yesterday. Aaron Ramsey is leaving Arsenal and will be joining Juventus in the summer. And yep, it's official. Aaron Ramsey is gone. He issued a statement yesterday on his Instagram and it read like this. As you may have heard, I've agreed a pre-contract with Juventus Football Club. I wanted to issue a personal statement for all of the Arsenal fans who've been extremely loyal and supportive. You welcomed me as a teenager and I've been there, and you've been there for me through all the highs and lows I've encountered during my time at the club. It is with a heavy heart that I leave after 11 incredible years in North London. Thank you. And then he goes on to say, I will continue to give the team 100% and hope to finish the season strongly before heading to my new chapter in Turin. The worst kept secret out there. Aaron Ramsey signed a pre-contract deal with Juventus. Great move for Aaron Ramsey personally. He's going to be earning a reported £400,000 a week. Yes, get that. £400,000 a week over there in Juventus. And it's going to make him the highest paid British player of all time when it comes to wages. So phenomenal deal for Aaron Ramsey, and good luck to him. He's been a great servant to the club. As he said, he's been at the club 11 seasons. I remember when we got him, it was a bit of a coup for Arsenal because when we signed him, Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson were heavily linked with him. Had spoken to him, but we managed to persuade him to come to Arsenal. He had some really good years at Arsenal as well. I remember he was on fire. There was that season when he scored 16 goals. You know, he was really becoming one of the best midfielders in Europe. So that's very similar to that sort of Frank Lampard style where he'd arrive in the box late and score lots of goals. Of course, there's the successes that he had in the FA Cup. Twice being that man for us in the FA Cup, scoring goals, and he really has been our king player in the FA Cup. Been a vital player. When you look back over the past 10 years, one of the very few players that can hold his head up and say, I really did a lot for Arsenal. I really had an impact that led to Arsenal winning things, Aaron Ramsey. And of course, when he talks about the lows in his career, it has to be when he broke his leg against Stoke. Ryan Shawcross, that tackle we've never forgiven him for, which put him out of the game. You know, could have ended his career. He was out of the game. Aaron Ramsey himself admitted in the past that it took him about 3 seasons to kind of get back to his best. Really horrific injury that he suffered, but again tells you a lot about the man, that he was able to, fight his way back. And last season had a decent season. This season started the season well, even though he's not figured all the time. We were being told going to sign a new contract, and then that contract was withdrawn by Arsenal when Unai Emery came in, and now he's on his way to Juventus. And it's really baffling to fans. We look on it and we say to ourselves, 2 things really. Number one, why are we letting Aaron Ramsey go? When Unai Emery first came in, we were told that he was looking to build his team around Aaron Ramsey, and a lot of people thought that Aaron Ramsey probably might be the captain of the club. And certainly, as I said, he's been here for 11 years, one of the few surviving players, really heavily experienced player as well. Why are we letting him go? That's the first thing. And then secondly, how have we allowed a player of Aaron Ramsey's stature, remember he's only 28 still in the prime of his career, how have we allowed him to leave for nothing? Absolutely nothing. Now let me talk about the 2 things. Number one, the thing with Unai Emery is obviously financial to me. I think it's a bit of both, in that Unai Emery looked on Aaron Ramsey and thought, right, he doesn't quite fit the mould of what I'm trying to do, because Aaron Ramsey's best position really is either a number 10 or that sort of number 8 who arrives in the box late. As I said, a bit similar to Lampard, scores goals. Unai Emery kind of wants a more hard-working midfielder, even though Ramsey was a box-to-box. But Unai Emery, I think, he's looking for a little bit of a different type of midfielder. But I don't think that is the main reason why they're getting rid of Ramsey. I think it is all down to the fact that, his contract was running down. They were going to have to pay him very big wages to keep him, as you can see by the wages he's getting at Juventus. And Unai Emery's looked at what he's got, looked at the fact that he's, according to the financial fair play rules, we're nearly up to our limit on wages, and knows that he needs to free up some wages. And he's like, well, I may as well free up some of those wages to try and get the type of players that I want in my system, which is fair enough on Unai Emery. The biggest fault for me lies with the previous regime. How did they allow this to happen? How have they allowed Aaron Ramsey's contract to run down, as I said, to zero, so that he can just go and talk to another club? And as you can see, all the power nowadays lies with a player. Once his contract, gets down to near the end, he's free to go and talk to any club around Europe. Once you get to January, just before the end of his contract, and that's exactly what he did. And it wasn't just Juventus that was chasing him. He had Bayern Munich chasing him. He had all these big clubs chasing him. PSG, yet still we're letting him go, by the way. And that's how he's been able to negotiate this amazing wage packet. Of course, as well for Juventus, even though it seems like a lot of money they're shelving out, it's actually a great deal for them because they haven't had to pay a transfer fee. Now, about a season and a half ago, we were being told that Barcelona were interested in Aaron Ramsey for around about £50 million was the quotes at those times, but we held on to Ramsey. So effectively, we've lost 50 million or 40 million because we could have sold Ramsey, 2 seasons ago or a season and a half ago if we knew we weren't going to keep him. Why didn't we just sell him? And this is the problem with Arsenal. What we've been doing time after time after time, letting players' contracts run down. Then we don't have no negotiating power. Most clubs, what they do is about, if you've got a top player and you've got a player that what we want to, not even just a top player, any player. If they've got about 2 years left on their contract, you get them in and you say, listen, we want to give you a contract extension. We want to extend your contract for another 2 years or 3 years, depending on who the player is. Even a year sometimes. Then it's up to the player. The player either says, okay, and you negotiate and you up his wages a bit and re-sign him to a new deal. Or if he doesn't want to sign that new deal, the common practice of all the big top clubs is then you then say, right, okay, you definitely don't want to sign? Right, we're going to sell you. And then they go out there and they put it out there and they say, right, say if it's in the case of Aaron Ramsey's for sale, 50 million or more. That's how you do your business. So at least if that player moves on, you've got a transfer fee in for him and you can then take that money and reinvest in other players. But no, not Arsenal. We let these contracts run down to nearly zero. So we either have to sell them for peanuts, like what we did with Alexis Sanchez, and Van Persie, by the way, or they go for nothing and we earn nothing. And this is what we've been doing time after time after time. This is why we've had no money to really invest in lots of players. Once we buy one big player, our budget's done because we've not had any money coming in. And it's again the same case here in the case of Aaron Ramsey. And I remember a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, I think it was, I was at, there's this football conference, it's called Soccer X, where, it's like a football exhibition, really famous one. And I met this guy there, he was an agent. And he was actually an agent he supports Arsenal. He's an Arsenal supporting agent. And he said to me, he goes, Robbie, I've got to tell you, he goes, Arsenal's transfer dealings amongst the agent community, Arsenal and transfers are also looked upon as a joke club. And I said, what? He said, honestly, they are looked upon as a joke. He goes, I've recommended players to Arsenal and they haven't even heard of them. He goes, they're so slow in what they do. He goes, they don't sign, and he highlighted this. He said, they don't sign their players to new contracts. They let contracts run down. He goes, it's a joke over there. I want to know, what was Ivan Gazidis, Dick Law, and Arsene Wenger doing with these transfers over the years? This is why we're in this situation. It's been an utter mess. And I heard people even blaming Ozil for this situation. Oh, he's Mesut Ozil because he's taken all the wages. He's taken 300. I don't blame Ozil at all. What's Ozil done wrong? Again, another player that we allowed his contract to run down. It was running into the last year. Listen, work out this whole Ozil situation and you see it was self-inflicted by Arsenal. They allowed his contract to run down again. He was in the same situation with Ramsey and Welbeck where it was going to be just 1 year left, right? Ozil was starting to make noises like he'd go as well. Because, he's looking around, seeing what's going out there. He's the situation, he's got all the power. Arsenal, because they lost Alexis Sanchez, are looking on it now and they're like, oh my God, we can't let Ozil go as well. Jesus, if he goes, the fans are going to be in a meltdown. So that's why they rushed out there and they offered him this huge contract to which he signed. And really and truly, that's the going rate for a top player. If you look at what Ramsey's getting, 400 grand a week, he's getting more than Ozil. And, listen, all right, I know Ozil's not been having the greatest of times this season because he's hardly played in that. But if you put the two players together and you said, in world football, who's worth more? It's got to be Ozil, because not only his playing ability on the field, but also the fact that off the field he sells shirts. He's one of those sort of players that, kind of transcends just him being on the pitch. He's of big value to a football club. So Ozil's not done anything wrong. It's our fault. Or should I say Gazidis and those guys' fault, because they hadn't sooner signed Ozil to a contract. They hadn't sooner before that signed Alexis Sanchez to a contract. So they ended up in this panic situation where they had to panic and give Ozil a mega contract to keep him at the club. They had to panic and pay Mkhitaryan 200 grand a week just so that it could get that over the line. It was a whole panic situation that was self-inflicted. Our transfers has been an absolute joke, and one of Gazidis, Dick Law and Wenger are at fault for it. None of them are at the club now, and the only thing we can hope for is that in the future, the guys that have come in, and we've already lost Mislintat by the way, but the guys that have come in will run it in a sensible way and run it how it should be run. And I remember, I don't know if it's the quote is from Sanelli, but he goes, no longer, it was one of the first things he said, no longer will players be allowed to run their contracts down like what's happened in the past. He identified it immediately. There is no big club in Europe that runs its business, or should I say used to run its business like how Arsenal did it. It's been a shambles. And the Aaron Ramsey situation is just another symptom of mismanagement. And the thing is, right, is that I feel sorry for Unai Emery. He's had to make that decision, difficult decision for him. He obviously likes Ramsey because he's still been playing him, right? And I think he would have kept Ramsey had he been able to have the right resources, because, you keep your best players. And listen, I don't blame Ramsey at all in this situation. Good luck to him. He's got himself a great package. He's gone to, I have to admit, a better club with better chances of winning things and a more forward-thinking club. And good luck to him. He gave 11 years of service to this club and 11 great years of service. And even now, what I love about this guy is that even though he's going, he's been professional till the end. You can't ask for better than that. He's been professional to the end. So good luck to Aaron Ramsey. Thank you for all the service that you've given to Arsenal Football Club. And best of luck when you do go to Juventus. Until the end of the season, please give it your all for us. And that's it. We've lost another one. And how much would it cost to replace Ramsey? That's the other question. 30, 40 million again? Absolute shambles. So I'd like to get your thoughts on it. What do you think about the whole Aaron Ramsey situation? Do you wish him the best of luck? Who do you blame for this? Is it Unai Emery's fault? Is it the previous regime's fault? You've heard my thoughts on it, but this is just my thoughts. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But it's official. Aaron Ramsey on his way to Juventus for 400 grand a week.